Americans agree the political system is broken. We found a large majority who said that they thought the system was rigged against them in our latest poll. Voters are fed up with the power of money in politics. They're anxious about the future of the two-party system that's becoming more bitterly partisan and less effective. It's a cause that Ralph Nader, in his own anti-Washington, anti-corporate way, has been championing for decades as a consumer advocate and five-time presidential candidate. Nader believes the solution is to unite populists on the left and the right into what he calls convergent action, arguing that coalitions can be forged between allies who are not as unlikely as they may appear. In his new book, he proposes 25 reforms he believes will make the system work better. Among them, and I'm going to put in my lawyer speed-reading voice, adjusting the minimum wage to inflation, breaking up too-big-to-fail banks, clearing away obstacles to a competitive electoral process, defending and extending civil liberties, pushing direct democracy through initiative, referendum, and recall efforts, and ending what he calls unconstitutional wars, fast-track trade authority, and the ineffective war on drugs. That's just a few of his reforms. Joining me now, Ralph Nader, author of his new book, Unstoppable, what he believes is the emerging left-right alliance to dismantle the corporate state. On paper, you see it. I see it in our own polling this week, that there is a left-right coalition, what I call, maybe some of them are fed up with government, some of them are fed up with Wall Street, or this idea, and you refer to it as crony capitalism. It's a phrase Sarah Palin likes to use. So I get that it's there. What's stopping it?
Okay, well, there's a lot of left-right agreement verbally all over the country. The polls show it.
We show, and it stands right. It's there. So what stops it?
Okay, some of it is now moving to a rumble level. You know, the Nixon signed all kinds of environmental, consumer, and worker laws because he heard the rumble from the people. And the rumble is often reflected in the media picking it up. Okay, that's happening now in the minimum wage at cities, states, and beginning to boil up in Congress. And obviously, it's a major election issue. That's the left-right. It comes in 70 to 80%. Another area is juvenile crime reform at the state level and trying to do something with the war on drugs. Over 12 states have signed laws there. Couldn't have happened without left-right, Republican, Democrat
You see it
alliance.
now. I mean, I think this is the case. Eric Holder and Rand Paul are on the same page on this.
If the specific trade agreement is signed by Obama, he's got to get it through the Congress. There's a left-right alliance in the House saying no fast track, we're not going to have it. So that's another one that reflects big polling. They're tired of jobs and industries being shipped abroad to communist and fascist regimes who know how to put their workers in their place at 80 cents an hour. So you see it, and you've seen it in the past, Chuck. For example, we stopped the Clinch River Breeder reactor boondoggle in 1983 with a left-right against Reagan and big business. And in 1986, the False Claims Act came, whistleblowers on corporate fraud on the government. That was the left-right. The corporations lost. And just over a year ago, the Basic Whistleblower Protection Act overwhelmingly passed in Congress against the opposition of the corporations. That's why I call my book Unstoppable. And there's so many other areas, but there are three stages. They come in public opinion polls, then they move into the rumble area, then they start going operational.
Now, you've obviously been trying to sort of what you believe, and you believe the two parties right now are too close to, you know, whether it's corporate America, the lobbying community. I mean, we can debate on what it is that they're too close to, and you're for this idea of breaking it up, but you want billionaires to do it. Why should we trust? Well, I just went through, you saw probably the first part of my show where I went through it, and this entire way we finance our system is sort of crazy, and yet you're saying, well, it's crazy, but I want my billionaire to do this. Why do you want a billionaire to run for president?
Well, because that's the only thing that your media will pay attention to.
My media.
It's like Ross Perot. When the media knows there's a billionaire or mega billionaire running for president, instant polling, instant coverage.
Do you think if you had been a billionaire, you would have gotten more coverage?
Oh, of course. I mean, there's no question about it. Money talks, and it talks on all sides of the political spectrum. The other thing is, all these changes that I point out in Unstoppable, they don't rely on elections. They rely on such left-right swarm coming over the Congress that the incumbents change. That's what's happened in these votes that I mentioned. The incumbents are changing. That's what happened in the 60s. So I think what we're seeing, and people can look at nader.org and get the more detail. But I have a letter in the book called Dear Billionaire, which you're alluding to.
I've seen that. Where
because organization, taking the left-right from verbal agreement all over the country and then bringing it to the state legislature country, bringing it to Congress, changing the country, getting things done, getting improvements takes money. The abolition movement against slavery, the women's suffrage movement, they were funded by rich Bostonians and New Yorkers.
It's been interesting to watch you talk about various presidential candidates. You're not a Hillary Clinton fan. You seem to be a Rand Paul fan. If we're down to the two of them, would you be voting for Rand Paul over Hillary Clinton?
No. Rand Paul is not good on domestic issues. He's pretty good against empire. His father, Ron Paul, is better against empire, against a bloated military budget. So you want
Rand Paul's foreign policy, but you don't like his domestic policy.
He's against health and safety regulations, and against full Medicare for all.
You'd rather have her domestic policy and not her foreign policy?
No, she's a doubleheader. She's a militarist and she's a corporatist. It's Wall Street and the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned us about, the worst possible combination. What we've got to do is not focus on the elections right now. Just focus on changing the incumbents by an unstoppable left-right alliance.
Well, you are very much on message. I think you've used the word unstoppable a number of times. I'm going to see it there. Your book is called Unstoppable. I think it's your 75th book.
No,
not quite that.
Main Street against Wall Street.
Fair enough. Ralph Nader, thanks for coming in. Good to visit with you.